Oh my goodness. Hey everybody, I'm Bobbie McGrath here in Raleigh, North Carolina in the USA, and I'm excited to be here tonight with my cohort,
Tracey McLeod from Australia's beautiful Gold Coast. And Bobbie, who do we have with us tonight?
Well,
today?
I am very, very excited. Tonight here on the Occupied House, we have none other than, okay, I'm going to do this right. Okay, Barbie, I've been practicing. Barbie Cawthan. Barbie Cawthan. Now, she's an intriguing woman whose background is in the corporate world of architecture and international sports management. And that crafted a unique life pathway. Okay, I'm just going to confess something. This woman's pretty amazing. Sometimes I can just like go along with things. But the more I read about her, the more I found out about her. I wrote it down. So I want to make sure you guys really hear the truth. So here we're going to go. Okay, so Barbie Cawthan is an intriguing woman whose background in the corporate worlds of architecture and international sports management crafted a unique life pathway, which ultimately led her to pursue her passion of how energy truly works. This journey led her to the world of Feng Shui and the many options it provides. She embraces the Bagua, I hope I said that right, mapping system to bring focus, balance, and understanding to the 9 principles of Feng Shui. Now, Barbie, I did it again. Barbie not only provides workshops around the world, but often appears both nationally and internationally on Talkback Programs and Podcasts. Barbie was also a guest speaker for the International Women's Day Global Summit in 2021. As a crystal alchemist, Barbie creates signature crystal jewelry by changing something rather ordinary, like crystals, into something extraordinary. Think of it as Feng Shui for the environment, crystal jewelry for personal energy. Now, what drew mine and Tracey's particular interest is how Barbie applies the Feng Shui principles to real estate and the guidance she provides to professionals who find themselves working from their home offices and private homes as they seek to create just the right environment. Now, for those of you listening from around the world, Barbie does live in the Gold Coast, there in Australia, and conducts consultations either face-to-face or via Zoom. So her knowledge is available to anyone who seeks it. She also holds a one-day Feng Shui live workshop twice a year. Well, there's actually so much more I could say, and there's more written down, but I tell you what, I could be talking about her all day, and I'm sure you guys want to hear from her. So I am so very proud to introduce Barbie Barbie Cawthan. She's our guest tonight, and she has got it going on. Barbie, welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much, Bobbie. You did marvelous, and Barbie Cawthan just came through beautifully a couple of times.
That's twice better than earlier. So Barbie is a very sweet woman.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Barbie, I'd love to start off by asking you about one of the reasons we really wanted to speak to you this year was Year of the Tiger. Obviously, we've had 2 years of pandemic, so we'd love to hear your thoughts on what's happening this year. But also, your background is as an architect and working in Asia, Southeast Asia. So you were doing major projects with Asian clients who expected, it was mandatory almost that they had Feng Shui consultant as part of the team. So do you mind going back in time to tell us a little bit about where it all began?
Absolutely. And hello, Tracey. Thank you for having me, both you and Bobbie. I feel very privileged, in actual fact, to be here. So, yes, my background, it was started in architecture, and I worked for one of the major firms in Melbourne. We were classed as one of the big 6. We built big high-rise buildings and all those sort of things. But we did have lots of Asian clients. And so in 170 architects, my chairman actually came out one day, this is a long time ago now, but anyway, it's in the 80s, but said, I need someone to go and learn Feng Shui because we have our Asian clients and, we're ready to put in a submission for $350 million building. And we're talking, what are we talking now, 30 years or so? So that's a lot of money. And the fees in that for the architectural firm were over $6 million. So, you multiply that by today's money, that's a lot of money. So you wouldn't have got the commission unless there was a Feng Shui master included. So at that time, it was quite interesting, actually. At that time, all the guys said, you know, I'm not doing Feng Shui. So I put my hand up and said, yes, I will. So I was sent, I was paid. It was actually beautiful. They paid all my way, and I went over to a school in Kuala Lumpur in those days and learnt the compass system, in actual fact, and then came back. And it was a continuous learning thing, but we at least had that little piece of paper that said I was a Feng Shui master, and we were included in the consultation and the design of the building with the designer that was building the building. And their whole understanding of Feng Shui is that it is coming from a positivity. They call it good luck, which is prosperity. But their whole purpose of having a Feng Shui master included in the design is that they're very positive that at the end of the time, when that building is built, that they can sell the apartments off, or they can lease out the office blocks and things like that. So that's how I got involved in Feng Shui in a very practical sense, and loved it. That was my beginning. It was my beginning.
So is that what opened up your starting to seek some of these other ways of viewing the world? Was it the Feng Shui door? Were you pretty confident?
I have always been a meditator. I have always known that my intuition has been very high, and so I've always known there's something outside myself that actually, if I just want to sit quietly and call on assistance, it will always come. So I always had that. You know, I can remember being in architecture and I got a cold, you know, and one of my directors actually said to me, would you stop, would you go, you know, I was all into oils and natural therapies and all those sort of things. And can you please just go to a doctor and get that over and done with? And so you have antibiotics. I said, no, I take those, I'll be fine. And I was. So always had that understanding. And I have a lovely man that's 17 years older than me who actually introduced me to that side of life. So very, 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 very happy in that area. So in developing Feng Shui even further, once I actually started my private practice, always had that. And that's what Feng Shui is about. Feng Shui is flow of energy. You know, flow to actually, and I say to people lots of times, and I've dealt with many, many people in my time, and I'll say to them, if you go into a room and you feel uncomfortable, you're feeling the energy. You can't see it, but you're feeling it. So if you actually incorporate Feng Shui in your business, in your home, or in whatever, you know, areas you want, your home office, then, you're actually placing an object. Sure, it's a solid thing, but it has an intention of why you're placing it there and a meaning to you. So that's why, and I say to people, and I'm sure you ladies do the same thing, I can't just go in. People will say to me, Barbie, I haven't got time to be there. You know, I'm working, I'm doing this. I just want you to go in and do it. And I'll say, no, because you need to be there. Because if I put an object, say for wealth, just very quickly popping on it, I'm sure we'll get many other questions, but just popping into wealth, if I actually put, a great big beautiful citrine crystal, which I do have in some of mine, they'll go, what's that rock? Why is that rock there? So they have no association with that. But if I put a whole pile of $100 bills or a plant that means growth or something that they associate with in their wealth corner, just to take their home office, for instance, and they're sitting at their computer, maybe, it's a bit slow or whatever's going on in business, but they look over at their wealth corner and then that object that they placed with intention, which is energy, but it also has a understanding, then that's going to say, something, I started my business to be prosperous, to be abundant. I'm looking over at my wealth corner, then, okay, I better pick up the phone or do some emails or contact a client or because I want to create prosperity in my life and I'm looking over there, and if I want it, it's giving me an insight into the object that I placed, which is just an object, I suppose, but they've put their intention in. So that's where the energy comes into Feng Shui when you're doing something practical.
I find that interesting. So everybody, depending on what their mindset is or what they put in. It could be anything in that corner. All three of us may have something different in the wealth corner, but if it triggers that thought process in it, that's the right thing to have in that corner. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why it's absolutely, you can read many books, sure. You can read them, there's many, and they're all sometimes a little bit different. But if you just go, and it's like interior design or anything, if you just go into it, and I'm sure you ladies understand this, if you go into a home and you actually set it up in styling a little bit different, because you're usually styling it to sell, aren't you? It's that sort of thing. So you're wanting it. But even in the styling, you want that person that may be the prospective buyer, you want them to come in and feel the energy, don't you? You want to feel comfortable. You want to, if you just styled like it's out of a Vogue book, every styling, the person would really understand, oh, that's just like that book, or that's just like, it's cold, it doesn't give me any warmth. Do I want to buy this house, or do I want to, be in this building, and things like that. So that's where, the emotion or the energy of Feng Shui comes into it, because you're creating, especially when you're working with the person, you're creating what they want, and you're absolutely correct. Whatever it means to them in the wealth corner, for instance, then that's what they need to put in. But it also has to be to make it work successfully. It has to be something that they really have passion for. It can't be, oh, yeah, that's good enough. That means wealth. I'll put, like for instance, I'm at my computer, so I've just put this is, can you see it? Yeah. This is a little Buddha, if you can see all the coins on it, yeah? Well, that's in my wealth corner in my office. I've got others all over the place. But I've also got little Feng Shui coins around it and so on and so forth. But I put that with intention, so that when I'm sitting at my computer talking to you lovely ladies or whoever, I'm actually, in that energy of abundance. And abundance comes in all things. It's really quite fascinating, and I love it. I actually love it. Yeah.
I love that.
I'm fascinated too, Barbie, when you mentioned about homes for sale, because it occurs to me that if you have clients who know or don't know about Feng Shui, there could be ways to incorporate Feng Shui into that styling of the home for sale.
Absolutely. I actually did a lady, when I was in Melbourne, I had a big shop in Melbourne, a big holistic centre. And that was 20-something years ago. I've been on the coast now 22 years. And she came in and she had a home. This is long before, the madness of the real estate, the building industry at the moment, or real estate industry. And she couldn't sell a home. She was in Melbourne. She had a home in Adelaide and had been on the market for 6 months. And she said, Barbie, I can't sell it. And I said, okay, I'll give you a little bit of advice. I said, ring up your real estate agent, ask them to go and get the, do you know the Japanese jade? They call it the money tree. It's called the Japanese jade. So it's called the money tree because it grows and grows and grows. I said, you ask your real estate person to actually go and get pots and put 2. Don't just put 1, put 2 in the front of the front door. Now, just a little added thing to it. You understand this, I'm saying to the lady, he may not, doesn't matter. Get him to go and get some, or I can send it over, whatever, some little citrine crystals. Citrine is your crystal of abundance and prosperity. So we're not going to leave anything to chance here. So ring him up, get him to do the pots, put 3 little ones in. You can put 8 if you want, but 3 will do in each pot. And then if it's possible, depending on the front door, if it's possible to hang a little mobile, maybe in a tree or something, just a movement, so it's movement happening. So the movement is actually creating the flow of prosperity. And also I said to him, which is going to be interesting, I said to him, when he's doing it, because it's in his interest to sell it as well, I said, get him to put, this is going to be prosperous. I'm going to be able to sell this home, da-da-da-da. So he's putting his intention in. I said, he may understand, he doesn't, but just ask him to do that. Now, she did that exactly, and he did it also. Now, bear in mind, we're in a different state. I'm in Melbourne. He was in Adelaide. That's totally a different state, Bobbie, in our country. And it sold. It sold in 3 weeks. And she'd had it on the market for 6 months. Now, people go, oh, well, it was just, why take things to chance? Why not enhance it so that that's actually happening? So what that actually meant is that when the people were coming up, you had this, I think they put a little mobile with a little tingle sound on it. So they could hear that pleasant sound. They came to the front with no clutter. That is a big thing with me. No clutter in the front door. You're just stopping any energy. These people that put all their shoes in the front door, my goodness. But anyway, it didn't. It was clear, and the plants were there, the crystals were there, and it's up. I mean, so yes, it does very much so. And then I did have, we might as well share the good and the bad. I did have another lady who was an associate of mine. She was actually working near my shop, and she had an understanding of energy, and she was selling her home. And she said to me, Barbie, could you just come and just check it? I've just had it styled, and just have a look over that I've got everything right. And I said, sure. So I went down there, and it looked beautiful. It was beautifully styled. The colours and everything was beautifully styled. But the moment that I walked into the place, she had absolutely nothing in her wealth corner, and she had absolutely nothing in her relationship corner. She had the lounges and the things around, but the corners were empty. So in Feng Shui, just to give you, please stop me if I go on too long, because I can in Feng Shui, but Feng Shui in a sharp corner, like you've got at the back of your desk, is like a sword. So the corners where they come together cuts through the energy and weakens the energy. That's what they call a sword in Feng Shui. So when we're actually creating around those corners, we're creating a circular motion around those corners to enhance the energy. That's the Bagua Mapping System. So I said to her, look, you don't even have to do anything, don't change anything, but put something in your wealth corner, whatever the wealth means to you. Could be a $100 bill, could be a crystal, whatever it is for you. Because what that means when you're selling a place like you are, it's encouraging wealth to come into your home. So people will buy your home. Your wealth is them signing they don't sign checks anymore, do they? But, signing the thing, see the amount that you want for that home and see it because it's coming in. You're encouraging abundance to come in. And I said, and in the relationship corner, you haven't got anything. And she said to me, but I've just gone through a divorce. I said, it's nothing to do with that. It's actually the relationship you have to your home, the energy that you have to let it go. You might have been there for 20 years. You might have brought up your children there. Or, there's always a little bit of a sadness when we sell something that we've had, no matter what's happened. So what is necessary to do is when the people come through that door, they feel like it would be their home, that you're not still holding on to it. It's quite fascinating. And so she didn't do it. She said to me, no, I've just paid $5,000 for styling. I'm not changing it. I said, that's okay. It wouldn't be too hard to do. But anyway, she was happy with that and she went off. So I went about my business. I saw her walking along one of our beaches, main beach actually, and I saw her walk about 18 months later. And I said, oh, how did you go? Because she was selling to start a new life and everything. And she said, I lost everything. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, I owed money to the bank. And it went on for 6 months, 8 months. I couldn't pay. And the bank ended up taking my home back. Now, honestly and truly, if she'd put just those little things in to a home, because it was beautifully styled, but it was, and I'm sure you understand that, I'm sure when you do it, it brings the warmth into, it's like you want to sit in that chair and you want to feel comfortable in that lounge, don't you? In her styling, maybe the people didn't get that warmth, I'm not sure, but they were just those 2 little areas that were empty. And if she'd done that honest, she would have sold it. I've no doubt whatsoever. So they're the 2 differences, that's quite interesting, isn't it?
I know just enough about Feng Shui to be dangerous and not in a good way. And not in a good way. So I remember the relationship and you have to put 2 things together. I remember you're supposed to close the toilet lid because all the fortune goes down the toilet if you don't shut the toilet lid. But am I right? Am I right about that?
Yep.
Because I do. I tell people that. I go, look, I know, close enough. I said, but the one thing I know, I'm pretty sure is you got to close that toilet lid. So, but my question for you is, and I think everybody here listening, we all want to know, which corner is our wealth corner or abundance corner? Which one is it?
And I'll give you a quick rundown of the Bagua Mapping System. And you know something, I get asked this all the time because all they want is wealth. People just want wealth, and all they want love. But the thing with Feng Shui, and it is so important, you have to do the whole lot, because otherwise it's out of balance. It's out of balance. And if you actually just shove everything into your wealth corner, everything that you know, it's like a seesaw. It tips. And then what happens? You get sick. And unfortunately, you could die and not enjoy your wealth. So it's vital that every part of it is done. Yeah. So I'll give it to you. Are you right? You ready for it?
The ugly American. Tell me where the wealth is. So,
hold your horses. Or hold your tiger. That's what we're saying. Hold your tiger.
Well, Year of the Tiger, that's me. Yeah. So I'm like, it's all I was so excited about tonight. Okay.
We'll talk about that when I go finish the Bagua Mapping System.
Okay.
And just in that, this is the simplest way to do it. As I said, I was taught the compass, but north, south, east, west. It gets very confusing for people when they do workshops or whatever. So I use the Bagua Mapping System. And let's face it, what we want is the end result, don't we? We want a positive end result. So your point of entry, right? We look at it as a square. Okay. Like the point of entry is your career. Yeah, we're just going to create a grid, and we're going through the middle point. Say the middle point because it makes it easier. So the point of entry is your doorway, and it is your career and journey of life. And if you think about that, you're stepping through the door, aren't you? You're stepping through your life into your journey of life or career, right? So that's your point of entry. And in the Bagua Mapping System, it has to always start from your point of entry. So that's why sometimes it can turn a little bit, because your point of entry may not be right there, might be in that corner. So, it goes like that. So yeah.
I get up and get the fear on seven stuff in my corner, so go ahead.
And you go rushing over to that corner. Okay, your point of entry is your career and journey of life. Your left-hand corner is your knowledge and wisdom, right? Your far left-hand corner is your wealth. Right? I'll just do the corners for the time being. So you've gone through your point of entry. Your left-hand corner is your wisdom and knowledge. Your far left-hand corner, we're talking a square, is your wealth. Your far right-hand corner is your relationship. Your right-hand corner is support and helpful people and travel. As you've gone through your point of entry, the wall or window, whatever it is you're looking at, which makes sense, is your future, because you're looking at your future. Now, in your knowledge and wealth, the wall, say you have a wall there or a window, it doesn't matter what it is, but the area between, because we're talking corners in a circular motion. So they're about probably, could be even a meter in diameter, not that much really, but just like a circular motion around the corner can could come out half the length of your buffet behind you type thing in a circular motion. But you've got your knowledge and you've got your wealth, the wall or the window, whatever it is between there is your health, right? And on the other side, where you've got your relationship and your support and helpful people, that wall is your creativity. Yeah. So, and they're all important because, and then once you create all those positive energies in your knowledge, your health, your wealth, your future, your relationship, creativity, support and helpful people, career and journey of life. So then all that positivity is coming through the 9th principle, which is what we call the chi area, which is your center point of that room. So you walk through that. Every time you go into the room, you walk through that center point, that positivity. So you've got all those positive energies, enhancing you every day you walk into that room. So that's a very quick Bagua Mapping System.
The center of my room, I'm not kidding, the center of my room, I have inlaid wood floors. The center of my room is the medallion. It's right here. I sit above it.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
beautiful.
so interesting. I'm going to look at this room in a whole new way now. And
Well,
I got
it does work. It's very simple. Like I just finished a psychology clinic, and they had a big home, and they've downsized as I have. I've gone from a home of 20 years downsized to apartment, and they wanted to turn the beautiful apartment, which looks over the boardwalk. You'd understand this, Tracey, and see SeaWorld, a beautiful outlook on a beautiful big balcony. But they wanted to keep their consulting rooms in the front and then block off their own accommodation and enjoy that part of it. But also he has very high-end clients, we're talking big money. And so he wanted to also include his balcony as his, conference room, sort of, because it was open. So we had to concentrate, quite a lot on the balcony as well as the reception in the very front of it. The reception in the front was this in the loveliest way, but the everyday people that were coming in for their consultation. And then he had to let go of all the energy that he was dealing with there, go into his accommodation area with his wife. And then when he was dealing with high-end clients, he would go out onto this beautiful balcony that they created. So that was a very interesting, it took over a year because we had a lot of structural changes there as well. So I did the reception area in his everyday working area, and that wouldn't be changing. And then the rest of it, he had a lot of structural things to be done. And then I came back and did the rest of it in different times. But that was a very, and then the interesting part about that also, because they'd only touched on Feng Shui in their life, but when I got back, they'd changed around things in their reception and their consulting room in the front. And the moment I walked in, I felt real negative energy, and I felt a bit ill actually. And I said to him, because they were busy. That's what happened. They were busy. So when they did certain things, so they just put them back in spots, but they didn't quite follow the report I gave them. And so I said, I'm sorry, but we have to deal with this. We have to deal with this. You've asked, you've put me in here and commissioned me to do something. I can't walk away with this the way it is. We've done this once, but we'll do it again. So we did the whole reception and consulting room again. And then I said to him, now you come in yourself, go out in the lift, come in now, open your door, walk in. How do you feel? I said, oh, it feels so much better. He said, I had a headache when I was leaving. I thought it was just because I'd been it was a busy day and so on and so forth. I said, no, it's because you'd moved things and they had no meaning to them. You'd place them because they were pretty, and you placed them but they weren't under the Feng Shui principle. So it's very interesting.
Barbie, I'm smiling because I have a thing that I do. Again, I'm only the toilet lid Feng Shui. That's the only thing I knew for sure. But I will after we've done things to the house, I will have the client go outside and open the door and come in to see what it feels like afterwards. So
absolutely.
I can feel that energy that you're talking about. So I'm excited to learn more about did I say it right? What is this?
Bagua.
The Bagua. And do you do it to every room?
Yeah.
You do it to every room, or do you also do it like?
I do every room. No. Well, I can go, depending on how much they want to pay and how much time I want to spend there. I can do, if I go into a property, it could be the whole of the property, like the ground area, the whole of the house, but individually every room, even to, your laundry and what it doesn't have to be and the toilets. I mean, on the toilets, I just put a little dish and it's got little, in my case, it's little crystals that have a meaning, health, wealth, love, whatever. We just put them on the cistern on the toilet because, you can't get too carried away with everything all over the walls and stuff. You actually do that at other times. And then I do have clients that actually say, and I don't use all the Chinese things. You know, some clients say, I don't want any of those in my home. and I said, that's okay, but we can put them behind the curtain. There's a curtain there. You know, we can put the 8 coins with the red ribbon, which represents wealth, because you're doing every room. So every room is slightly different. You know, your lounge room, living area, if it's a open space, is mainly where everyone is. So you would concentrate quite heavily on those areas because that's where most of the energy is. But if it's, say, it's a dining room and it's got a lovely curtain there and the wealth corner and they don't want anything, you can just put it on the little hook behind the curtain and you don't have to see it. It's just there. Like if you had stairs, which if they go from the front door straight up, they're actually cutting through the energy. So how do we, compensate for that? We put, which is interesting, it's going deeply into Feng Shui, but we put 2 Bagua flutes, musical flutes, and they cross over. So in the symbolization of Feng Shui, you have a flute with just a long flute and, the holes in it that someone will play. And then it has the tassels sort of coming off the Bagua flute. And so you cross it over and you put it under the stairwell. You can't see it. You put it under the stairwell, which actually represents that any bad energy goes through the hole in the flute, and then the tassel actually sort of blows it away. So there's no negativity. So the symbolization of that is that those stairwells that go, when the front door opens and goes straight up, you're breaking down that cutting energy of cutting a house into 2.
What I'm hearing too is that it's the act of intentionality that really controls the energy. It's because you're doing these things.
Absolutely. Everything has, everything has a symbol. Everything has a meaning. But you have to understand that meaning when you're placing it there. Otherwise, someone says, oh, I read about the flutes. Okay, I'll just stick those up because that'll do it. But if you haven't put your intention into that and the reasoning why you're doing that, it's just an object, isn't it?
True. It's true.
Another something that's dangerous in the hands of amateurs.
Well, it is a little bit. It can be. It can be because they've read a book or, like that. Everybody wants money, don't they? If I had money, my world would be unbelievably gorgeous. And it would be, but, we all know difference in some areas. Some people have so much and they're not happy either. But I just touch a little bit on this because I won't talk on it at all, but I do humanitarian projects in Nepal. So when I go there and do them, that they don't have money, but they have their business. They climb mountains, climb Everest and all that stuff. But they are just amazing people. So that changed my life a lot. But it is the intention you place in it. What do you want out of life? Like in your passion area, your relationship area rather, in your home office is so different than your relationship area in your bedroom, because your relationship in your bedroom is intimate. It's actually whether you're with somebody or whether you're not. It can be the love for yourself. So your relationship in your bedroom is so different than the relationship in your business area, because your relationship in your business area is you building up the passion of why you started doing your business. Most of us, when we do our business, we go it alone and create a whole business for ourselves. We have a passion. We have a fire in the belly to make it work. So in your business area, you would put something that every time you looked over there, it's a reminder of the why you started your business. So it gives you, that started that business because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help women be better. I wanted to change the world in real estate. I wanted to be whatever it would be. But that would be the object that you would place in your passion, your relationship area of the passion of why you started your business. So it's interesting.
Barbie, one of the experiences I had, I studied Feng Shui very briefly, and we started doing, clearing the home. And what was really interesting to me was that different family members had different levels of clutter, for want of a better name, where, I would take something out of an area, they would put something back in there. pretty quickly. And so it was interesting that we all react differently.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why, again, the people have to be there with me, because they have to be able to say that means something to me. You know, I've been asked so many times, Bobbie, you just go in and do it. I'm happy if you do it. And I say, no, you need to be there. Even if they can't, if it's a home or a business, sometimes it can take 5 days to do it. And they say, oh, you know, I haven't got the time. So we can break it down to 1 day here and 1 day there. So it doesn't bother me, because I want it to be right for them, because it's my reputation. I don't want to walk away. And they say, well, I tried Feng Shui and that didn't work. You know, it didn't work because they haven't done it correctly, or they haven't put the intention into the object that they're going to place there for them to have a reminder of why they're doing things.
So what's like the biggest, the most common energy sucking thing that you run across when it comes to homes? I'm not talking about businesses, but in homes. What's like one of the things that puts everything off the radar? Is it or is it just a need to have a balance amongst all things? Or I guess I'm asking, where's our biggest blind spot?
The biggest, well, it's not the blind spot per se in the place. The biggest, absolute biggest thing is clutter. The biggest thing. And that doesn't mean it has to be just untidy clutter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'll give you another example. I was doing a beautiful apartment in the Rocks in Sydney. And in Bobbie, just for your information, if you don't know, the Rocks looks over Sydney Harbour. Oh. So it's a magnificent view. And she was a big international speaker, this lady, and she lived in this beautiful apartment. When I went up to it, I noticed there was a lovely wooden cabinet at the end of it, at the end of the hallway before she walked into her main area. And I noted every time she went by when I was with her, she kicked a toe on that cabinet. I thought, that's interesting. So in the conversation of doing things, I said to her, that cabinet, is that always been there? And this is what we're talking about, not having, and this is a slight touch on clutter maybe, but it's an energy of having something in an energetic form that has no meaning to you really, but you're doing it because you feel you should do it. The cabinet belonged to her mum, and her mother had passed on, and it was a beautiful carved cabinet, but she kicked a toe every time. And then she walked into her beautiful lounge room, which was also her boardroom type thing, so she had clients come there. And she said, it was my mother's. And she said, I didn't really want it there, but I had nowhere else to put it. And my mum passed away, and she was in a wheelchair, and she used to stub it every time she went by with the wheelchair. And I said, have you noticed that you kick your toe every time you go by there? And I didn't know this lady really well. And she said, yes, I do, don't I? So I said, well, why don't you just stand in front of your cabinet and just see how you feel? Now, I didn't want to, encourage her in any way, but what it was, she felt sadness. Every time she went by that cabinet, she felt sadness because she'd lost her mum. She was very close to him. But it was old energy. It wasn't bringing, and she was having a slow time. The clients weren't coming through, where she had a very successful business. So I said, it's a possibility you might think of either giving that away or selling it or something. It's your furniture, but just think about it, because in Feng Shui, you're blocking positive energy coming into your lounge room where you want your clients. And she said, I will. And she gave it to somebody who wanted it. So it was going somewhere lovely, and the clients started coming back in. It's so interesting. So when we talk clutter, the worst thing in the world is to have people leave their shoes at the front door because they don't want to take the dirt into the thing. You have to have a little rack, or, that maybe they have to go through the garage or something, but not just on top. And if you've got teenage children, I just finished another naturopath's clinic, and she has teenage boys, and they just left all their bikes and everything at the front door. And I said, well, we can't have that. So we had to clean it and put them in another area. That's all. So when you go in and different personalities in different areas, they still have to come under that Bagua Mapping System principle but they still, yes, you can work with their energy, but it still has to have those principles there or it won't work. So does that answer your question?
It does. And it's interesting. I call clutter visual noise. It's like I walk into a place and it's like it's screaming so loud I can't relax.
Yeah.
So it's there, and I tell people, I don't use the C word in my business. I never. I say, we have a lot of shopping center items that need to be pre-packed. So, but I like the way that, I like what you said. So that's good. Good. I'll let them know it's eating up all your money energy.
It is, and it's like, most of us want to be in the present, don't we? We want to be successful today and the future. That's what we want to do. And in actual fact, we'll touch on the tiger now, because the tiger is the leader. The tiger is the leader, so it takes action, but it's very protective also. The water tiger is a little bit different than the tiger. There's different elements of it, but this is the water tiger year. And so it is. It's a leader. It's powerful and balanced in its walk. If you watch a tiger walk, she places her foot firmly on the ground. Now, with our pandemic, it's been like walking on a waterbed, hasn't it? Nobody can really put their feet on the ground because we never knew what was going to happen from one to the other. The only thing we can do is bring ourselves into balance so that we're actually able to put our feet on the ground. If the world's falling around us not very well, then we're together and we can keep going with it. And that's what the tiger. It's a great year to be in, because we've got all that other stuff going on, and people are coming back and trying to do what they do in life. And some have been fantastic and it's kept going and they haven't had a hiccup. Others have had enormous hiccups in their businesses and things. So to be in the energy now of the tiger, I'm so happy, because even when you see a tiger moving, it never thinks that it can't go out and get its food for its family, never thinks it's going to fail. It just wakes up every day, goes out to get the feed, So it never thinks it's going to fail. So how fabulous is that to start from now? And then it's very protective of its environment. And it's very protective, when you think about it, of the cubs, the children. So you're protective in your own environment as well, protective of yourself, protective of your business, not in a fear way, just in a protective way. And so, but it's an action year. We can learn all the things in the world, and I can go out and tell somebody something, they don't take action. It's not going to work. And the same is the thing. We can read and we can meditate for hours and we can have wonderful insight. But if we don't take action, it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. So this year is very important for that. Very big year in self-confidence, a very big year in romantic love. It all goes back to the person, it's building up our self-esteem. Some people might have, had a few knocks and they've got to sort of wind themselves up again. So it's building that up. If they want romantic love, and if some people are always looking for that, then, it's best to love yourself first, and then you'll bring it in. You'll bring in the good one.
There you go.
But it's a very positive energy, the tiger, very positive. So I'm excited to work in it, really.
And so as far as taking action, Barbie, is that balanced action? As like you have to obviously balance your energy, as you were saying earlier.
Very much so. And never, in our own working environment ourselves, our person, it's actually, yes, very much calling on all your knowledge, calling on all your energy, but never overwhelming yourself, because that's when you'll get ill. So if you get tired, you just step out and rest. And that's the big thing about this year as well. So, one lady asked me, and she said, I'm so busy, I can't do this. I feel like I'm on the hurdy-gurdy. I said, well, get off. Get off the hurdy-gurdy for a while. It'll still be spinning. You can just jump back on again. Life keeps going, doesn't it?
I don't know what a hurdy-gurdy is. You want to translate for us Americans? I don't know what it is.
Well, when you're a child, maybe you're in the park, and there was when I I was little anyway, I'm a lot older than you guys, but when I was little, there was what we called a thing that span around. So you jumped on it.
A merry-go-round.
A carousel, yes.
A merry-go-round.
Not quite the carousel, because it was a physical thing. It was just a disc, had handles on it, and the kids would spin it, and you used to try and jump on it while it was actually going around.
Americans, that's a merry-go-round. So, okay.
Okay, all right, okay.
That'll do. Yeah. I learned cantaloupe is rock melon, so I'm quite international now. I'm going to go someday. I hope to have grandkids to play on the hurdy-gurdy. So, okay.
Hurdy-gurdy in Australia.
There you go. See, now I'll have to find one.
Yeah. Well, if you're spinning, I mean, put it this way, if you're spinning too much, then stop spinning. Really, that's what it's about. And reset. That's a big word in my life, it's reset your life. We go out, we do everything, and then bring it back and reset, and that's all in our understanding and knowledge that comes from, I do lots of lectures, and I'll say to them, intellectually, you can strategize and plan, which was bringing all our knowledge. And, I'm a notes person. I'll sit down and write out what I'm doing that day or whatever I've got scheduled for the week. But energetically, you'll succeed, because energy is your emotion. So if you haven't got your emotions in a balanced state in some way, I mean, life happens, doesn't it? And it can knock us off our perch or something. But, intellectually, you'll make it happen. It's like that planning. It's like the male side of all of us. But, energetically, you'll succeed, because you'll go, something, my gut's telling me I'm not going to do that. My gut's telling me that's not the way to go. So take notice of it. If it feels good, do it. I listened to a very beautiful talk of the Dalai Lama, and he actually said, when you want to do something, ask yourself, will it make me happy? And if you can say yes right away without knowing the hows, the whys, the money to have with it, whatever, then follow that path. Now, to some people that sounds airy-fairy, but you think about it, in our life, if we had followed sometimes other passions even, where would we have been now? But we gave it up because of whatever. People's opinion, our opinion, whatever. We didn't follow our passion. But when we get to my age, I follow my passion. And my passion is Feng Shui and designing beautiful jewelry and doing humanitarian projects. It's just me. It doesn't have to be everybody else. But the Feng Shui and the crystal jewelry, and you made a very beautiful introduction when you said that the jewelry works on the person. So that's the personal side of working with that energy. And Feng Shui is working in the environment. And it's so true. And they work together.
Yeah, interesting.
Thank you so much, Barbie, for being with us today. I feel like we've learnt so much that is just below the surface. And I think now's the perfect time talking about, having a positive year of action. And as Bobbie said, she's a tiger. So she was really looking forward to this conversation to understand how she can implement some of those ideas. And certainly in the home, I think there's, now's the time, isn't it, to start clearing and clearing the energy and making sure that we've got some positive energy happening, positive action, and we're going to be able to, 2022, these are, big numbers. We're on this, are we the 2nd of Feb today? Could be.
Yeah, we're into it already. Yeah.
So I just want to know, how's the future looking? You guys are a day ahead of me. So how's the future looking?
That's pretty good to me.
Positive.
Yeah. And look, honestly, when we were linking with the tiger in the year, just keep that in mind. I mean, the tiger is strong. It has its feet firmly on the ground. It never thinks it's going to fail. It's protective of ourselves and our environment, our persons and our family, and however that goes. And it builds up our self-esteem. And I think after coming out of the pandemic for those 2 years, we've had here, Tracey. We haven't had it as bad as the rest of the world, but it's still been tough, and so just to bring in that beautiful energy to start our year, knowing that energy's in the ethos so that we can call on it and build it in our own personal lives and our business. I think it's fabulous.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for being with us, Bobbie. It's been such an eye-opening experience and so wonderful to meet you and hear you speak. And can you tell us where people can find you?
Yes, I do have a website. I don't keep it up to date. I'm too busy, but I do have a website, which is www.crystallandpearlco.com. If they do go in, that will send them straight to my shop. But if you understand websites, they can go into my personal sessions, and then it tells me all about Bobbie. It tells me all about you, about me, and plus also it gives you the understanding of Feng Shui in there, or also just my Barbie Cawthan Facebook. I'm very big on Facebook, and so it's www.facebook.com/Barbie Cawthan, or they can join my Feng Shui school, which I've created also. So I do a talk on a big mums in business, a 12,000 group thing once a week on Monday at 3:30 Queensland time, and I actually link that live into my Feng Shui school. So if they want to join the Feng Shui school, they can, and follow me from there as well.
I listened to some of your different videos and things, and they're really interesting. So I encourage everybody to check her out and and then go to her site, because I did, and I was like looking at all that beautiful jewelry. So very interesting. Such a pleasure, Barbie.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bobbie. Thank you, and thank you, Tracey, for inviting me. It's been a pleasure for me as well.